So our next sense organ is ear. So here we are going to learn about what are the functions of ear and what are the parts of ear and what are their important properties. So our ear is basically associated with hearing, as we all know, and also balance. We see that old people struggle to stand erect after a certain point of time because slowly the balance deteriorates. So that is also associated with ear itself. So let's see, ear is divided into three main parts. First is the outer ear, which we can see, the outermost pinna through which the sound actually is entering into our ear. Next is the middle ear, and then is the inner ear. So let's see about them in detail. The outer ear consists of the pinna and the passage which is known as the auditory canal leading to the eardrum or the tympanum. So the outermost part, as you can see in the figure, that is the pinna, and then the sound enters into the ear through the ear canal or the auditory canal. There is a pathway like structure which is known as the ear canal or the auditory canal, and then it moves into the eardrum or the tympanum. So these terms are very important. Next is the middle ear. The middle ear consists of three tiny bones. The bones are very small. So these three bones are named as malleus, incus and stapes. So these bones are attached to one another, as you can see in the figure. It has been denoted by green, yellow and blue color. So malleus, incus, stapes, or it is also known as hammer, anvil and stirrup. From there we have the eustachian tube. We will learn about it, what it is. The three bones are collectively known as the ear ossicles. So these three bones, they are together called the ear ossicles, ear bones. The flat part of the stirrup fits on the so-called oval window, a membrane-covered opening leading to the inner ear. A second opening, the round window, also covered by a thin membrane, connects the middle ear and the inner ear. So there are two small windows, or you can say two cavities. One is called the oval window and one is called the round window. The oval window is actually starting from the end of the last bone, that is from stapes, and it is connecting the middle ear and the inner ear. Similarly, there is another window which is covered by a membrane. It is called round window. It also has the same function. It is connecting the middle ear with the with the inner ear. So basically these two windows are like connections between the inner ear and the middle ear. So from the ear, this eustachian tube will actually connect our middle ear to the throat portion. That's why during cough and cold there is sometimes pain in the ear also. So eustachian tube performs this function. Next is the inner ear or the membranous labyrinth. The inner ear has the cochlea and the semicircular canals. This is the part where the actual hearing happens. So it is also known as membranous labyrinth because it is a very confusing pathway like structure. It consists of two parts. One is a snail shaped structure. It is just like a snail's shell. It is called cochlea, and the other is semicircular canals. So the cochlea is spiral shaped and looks like a small snail, and it has three parallel canals. It has three parts. The middle part is filled with a fluid which is known as endolymph, and the first and the third canals are filled with another fluid which is known as perilymph. Very important which fluid is present in which canal. The middle canal, that means the second canal or the second part of the cochlea, it consists of a special group of sensory cells. It is actually a spiral organ inside which is known as organ of Corti, and this particular organ is the organ which is actually helping us to hear. So all the sound which is coming to our ear is actually being manifested in that organ of Corti because it consists of sensory cells. So this organ of Corti is present inside the cochlea, inside the second channel of cochlea. So as you can see the figure on the right hand side, these are the three small bones which have been amplified in detail. The first bone on the extreme left hand side, this is known as the malleus. So this is the malleus. Next one is the incus, and the smallest one is the stapes. Together they are called the ear ossicles. Talking about the semicircular canals, the semicircular canals is associated with balance of our body. So there are two types of balance. One is called the static balance and one is called the dynamic balance. Static balance means balance in the body when we are lying down or when we are at rest. This is done by the utriculus and sacculus. As you can see in the figure, there are two dotted circular structures. So utriculus and sacculus are essential for static balance, and the balance which is maintained in our body when we are running or when we are walking, we don't fall over, right? We can walk normally, we can walk straight. So that is maintained by the semicircular canal region. As you can see, I have made 3 blue dots. So that region is known as ampulla. So ampulla is essential for dynamic balance because it contains sensory cells and a fluid, and this is responsible for balance. So for hearing also and for balance also, the major cell responsible is the sensory cells. So let me just give you a gist of the parts once again. The outer ear consists of the pinna through which the sound is actually moving into the ear. Then we have the ear canal, which is like a tube through which the sound wave is traveling. And then we have the eardrum, which will vibrate when the sound is moving into it. This is the outer ear. In the middle ear, we have the 3 tiny bones, malleus, incus and stapes. We have a eustachian tube which connects the throat with our ear. And then we also have 2 windows, oval window and round window, which is connecting the middle ear with the inner ear. Third is the inner ear or the membranous labyrinth, which consists of the cochlea and the semicircular canals. The cochlea consists of perilymph and endolymph, which are 2 fluids. The middle part of the cochlea consists of an organ of Corti, which is actually helping us to hear. Next is the semicircular canals. There are 3 semicircular canals. The place where they are forming the bundle after joining the rest of the ear, that part is known as the ampulla. It helps in maintaining dynamic balance. And then we have 2 more structures, utriculus and sacculus, which helps in maintaining static balance. So these are all the parts of the ear whose function and location you have to remember. Next we are going to learn how this hearing happens and how balance happens in our body. Initially the sound moves into the pinna, and from there it will move to the ear canal. Now what happens? The eustachian tube equalizes the air pressure on either side of the eardrum, allowing it to vibrate freely. So as the eardrum or our tympanum is just like the surface of a drum, it will vibrate whenever sound waves are touching it. In order to maintain this vibration to be free so that it is not influenced by any other force, the eustachian tube is present. This eustachian tube not just connects the throat with the ear, but it also equalizes the air pressure on both the sides. In the front portion and also in the back portion of the eardrum, the pressure is maintained constant by the eustachian tube so that the eardrum can vibrate normally. This vibrating eardrum will now set the next 3 ear ossicles into vibration. So it is like a connection. So the eardrum is vibrating, and as a result, the ear ossicles or the ear bones are also vibrating, all the 3 of them together. So since the first 2 bones, as you can see in the figure once again, the first 2 bones are directly connected, so they form a lever-like mechanism, because of which the third bone vibrates with a very large amplitude. It will vibrate very much comparatively, just because the first 2 bones are connected to one another very tightly, like a lever. The vibration of the last ossicle is magnified due to the lever-like action of the first 2 ossicles. Next, this vibration passes to the inner ear using the oval window, and then it moves into the cochlea. Like I told you, the cochlea consists of sensory cells, which is known as the organ of Corti. So there is also a fluid inside the cochlea along with the organ of Corti. So the fluids also start vibrating because of the sound wave, and those vibrations in turn is now transferred to the brain by using the auditory nerve. The term itself has its meaning. Auditory means related to hearing. So the auditory nerve is transferring all those impulses to the brain so that we can understand what we are hearing. Talking about balance, we have already learned that the ampulla region or the entire semicircular canal region, it consists of a fluid again, and that fluid when vibrates, it sets the sensory cells into vibration, and those sensory cells are required for dynamic balance. So the semicircular canals along with the ampulla, it is helping in dynamic balance of the body when it is moving or when it is running. But the lower part, utriculus and sacculus, that is helping to maintain the balance of the body when it is at rest, when we are in the resting phase. So 2 types of balance happen because of our ear. Many times what happens when we keep on moving round and round continuously, we are not able to stand straight after some time. So why does this happen? Because when we are moving like that, the fluid in our ear is also rotating. So as soon as we stop, the fluid is not able to come to rest very soon, and as a result we are not able to maintain balance in the body. This is the major reason.